There is something profound about loving someone so deeply that you can picture your entire future with them. You imagine Sunday mornings making pancakes together, saving for a house, maybe even kids someday. For 3 years, I had that with Amanda. We shared a cozy apartment in Portland, split bills equally, hiked every weekend, and never went to bed angry. She was a kindergarten teacher with a heart of gold, and I honestly believed she was the one. I was even planning to propose next spring. Everything felt right, stable, perfect. But then her family started needing more and more from us, and what began as occasional favors slowly became an unspoken obligation I could not escape. Looking back now, I realize that was the moment everything changed. Before I tell you how this all went down, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. If you have ever felt trapped between love and your own peace of mind, hit that like button. And subscribe, because trust me, what happened next taught me one of the hardest lessons about boundaries and self-respect. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. I met Amanda 3 years ago at a coffee shop downtown. It was one of those funny moments where we both grabbed the wrong order off the counter, realized it halfway through our first sip, and ended up laughing about it. She had this warm smile that made you feel like you had known her forever. Her hair was brown and fell just past her shoulders, and her voice had this gentle quality that made even mundane conversations feel meaningful. She taught kindergarten and genuinely loved those kids. I was working as a software engineer building apps and debugging code all day. We balanced each other perfectly. Our relationship was easy in the beginning. We would cook dinner together on weeknights, trying new recipes we found online. On Saturdays, we would pack sandwiches and drive out to the gorge for hikes. Sundays were for lazy mornings, coffee in bed, and binge-watching whatever show we were into at the time. There was no drama, no big fights, just two people building something real together. We moved into a small apartment in the Pearl District after about 6 months. It was nothing fancy, but it was ours. We split everything down the middle, respected each other's space, and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. I remember thinking this was it. This was the person I would marry. Life felt smooth, predictable, in the best way possible. Then I met Jessica, Amanda's younger sister. Jessica was 4 years younger, 24 at the time, and a single mom to 2 kids. Her son, Caden, was 6, and her daughter, Skylar, was 4. Jessica lived about 15 minutes away from us in a smaller apartment that always seemed cluttered whenever we visited. She had gotten pregnant young, and the father had left before Skylar was even born. Jessica worked odd jobs here and there, but never seemed to hold anything down for long. Amanda adored her little sister. She talked about wanting to protect Jessica to make sure she and the kids were okay. I understood that. Family is important. I come from a big family myself, and we help each other out. So when Amanda first mentioned that Jessica might need us to watch the kids occasionally, I did not think much of it. Helping out now and then seemed perfectly reasonable. The first time I met Caden and Skylar, we were heading over to Jessica's place to pick Amanda up for a dinner reservation. I knocked on the door, and within seconds, Caden came barreling out, slamming straight into my legs with the force of a small linebacker. He did not say hello or sorry, just laughed and ran back inside. Skylar was sitting on the couch wailing at the top of her lungs because she wanted to come with us to dinner. Jessica was in the kitchen barely paying attention, just calling out that they were excited. When we finally left, I noticed my jacket had colorful streaks all over the sleeve. Caden had drawn on it with a permanent marker while I was not looking. Amanda saw it and laughed, saying, "Kids will be kids." I forced a smile, but inside I felt a flicker of irritation. That jacket was not cheap, and nobody even apologized. The first real babysitting request came a few weeks later. It was a Friday night, and Amanda and I were planning a quiet evening at home with takeout and a movie. Jessica called around 8 p.m., her voice frantic, saying she had a job interview early Saturday morning and desperately needed someone to watch the kids. Amanda looked at me with those pleading eyes and I nodded. It was just one morning. How bad could it be? Jessica dropped Caden and Skylar off at 8 a.m. the next day, promising she would be back by noon. By 8:15, Caden had dumped an entire box of cereal across our couch. By 9, Skylar was crying because she wanted to watch Frozen for the 5th time, and I could not find the remote. By 10, Caden had run into our bedroom and pulled every single piece of clothing out of my closet, piling them on the floor like he was building a fort. By 11, Skylar had an accident on our carpet because she refused to go to the bathroom when I asked. Jessica finally showed up at 4 p.m., 4 hours late. She did not apologize, just scooped up the kids, called me a lifesaver, and left. Our apartment looked like a tornado had torn through it. There was cereal ground into the couch cushions, toys scattered everywhere, and a wet spot on the carpet that I had to scrub for 20 minutes. I was exhausted. Amanda came out of the bedroom where she had been doing some work and looked around. I expected her to be upset, but she just shrugged and said it was not that bad. Right, I swallowed my frustration and started cleaning up. 2 weeks later, Jessica called again. This time, it was an emergency dentist appointment. Amanda agreed immediately without even asking me. I bit my tongue. When Jessica dropped the kids off, I decided to set some ground rules. No running in the apartment. No touching things that were not toys. Caden looked at me, nodded, and then proceeded to completely ignore everything I said. Within 10 minutes, he was sprinting through the living room and knocked over a lamp. It shattered into pieces across the floor. I raised my voice telling him to stop, and Skylar immediately burst into tears. When Jessica arrived to pick them up, Skylar ran to her sobbing, saying Uncle Pascal yelled at her. Jessica gave me a look like I was the problem, saying they were just kids, and I needed to be more patient. Amanda stood there and agreed with her, telling me I could have handled it better. I felt a sting of hurt. I had been helping giving up my time, and now I was being painted as the bad guy for trying to maintain some order. A month later, Jessica asked if we could watch the kids for a few hours so she could go on a date. Not an emergency, not a job interview, a date. I told Amanda we had plans that weekend, but she insisted family came first. I gave in again. This time, Caden somehow got hold of my gaming headset, the expensive one I had saved up for, and snapped it in half. $200 gone. When Jessica came to pick them up, I mentioned it. She just shrugged and said, "Accidents happen." No offer to replace it. No real acknowledgement of the loss. I was furious, but kept quiet because I did not want to start a fight in front of the kids. By the 4th month, babysitting had transformed from an occasional favor into an expectation. Jessica started dropping the kids off without even asking any more. One Friday evening, I came home after a brutal day at work, ready to collapse on the couch, and found Caden and Skylar already there. Amanda explained that Jessica had something come up and she could not say no. I lost it a little. I told Amanda this was our home, and she should have at least asked me first. She got defensive, saying what was she supposed to do, leave them stranded? I pointed out that Jessica could hire a babysitter, that this was not our responsibility. Amanda did not want to hear it. She gave me the silent treatment for the rest of the night. Another time, I was working on an important project with a Monday deadline. I had spent all week preparing, but I needed that Saturday to finish everything up. Jessica called at 9 a.m., asking if we could watch the kids for the entire day because she had plans. Amanda agreed before I could even protest. I ended up locking myself in our bedroom trying to focus while chaos erupted outside. I could hear Caden screaming, Skylar crying, things crashing. I could not concentrate. The deadline got missed. My boss was not happy, and I felt the pressure mounting at work. When I tried to talk to Amanda about it later, explaining how this was affecting my job, she brushed it off, saying I was overreacting. I finally sat Amanda down for a serious conversation. I told her we needed to establish boundaries. I explained that I loved her, but I had not signed up to be a part-time parent to Jessica's kids. Amanda shot back that family helps each other, that this was what you did for the people you loved. I tried to explain the difference between helping and being taken advantage of, but she accused me of being selfish. I asked, what about our life, our time together, our plans? She did not have an answer. She just changed the subject. Things escalated when my work laptop got destroyed. It was a Sunday afternoon, and Jessica had dropped the kids off with her usual promise to return in 2 hours. I left my laptop on the dining table for just a minute while I went to the bathroom. When I came back, Caden had spilled an entire glass of orange juice all over it. The laptop was dead, completely fried. I panicked because it was company property loaded with confidential files and projects. When Jessica came to pick up the kids, I explained what happened, hoping she would at least acknowledge the severity. Instead, she blamed me for leaving it out. Amanda sided with her, saying Caden did not mean it, and I was overreacting. I had to go into the office on Monday and explain to my boss what happened. Thankfully, I did not get penalized, but it was humiliating. That laptop was worth $2,000 to the company. Then came our anniversary. I had planned everything weeks in advance. Reservations at this beautiful restaurant downtown that had a 3-week waiting list. I bought flowers, left work early, and came home excited to celebrate 3 years together. When I walked in, Jessica was there with Caden and Skylar. She said she needed us to watch them that night, that it was an emergency. I looked at Amanda, desperation in my voice, reminding her this was our anniversary, that we had reservations. Jessica stood there guilt-tripping us, saying she would not ask if it was not important. Amanda looked torn, but then she looked at me and said we could reschedule. I called the restaurant and canceled. We lost the deposit, $150 just gone. I spent our anniversary sitting in the corner of our own living room, watching 2 kids run wild, feeling completely invisible. That night, I realized Amanda would always choose Jessica over me. No matter what, Jessica's entitlement grew. She stopped asking and started telling. Instead of, "Can you watch them?" it became, "I need you to watch them." One evening, I told her I could not, because I had plans with friends I had not seen in months. Jessica got upset, saying she thought she could count on me, that she was disappointed. She guilt-tripped Amanda, who then turned on me, saying I made her sister feel bad. I exploded, saying I was not an on-call babysitter, that I had a life outside of this. We fought for hours. Amanda and I did not speak for 3 days after that. Then came the Thursday evening that changed everything. I came home from work exhausted. It had been a brutal week, deadlines piling up, meetings running late. Amanda was sitting at the kitchen table, her expression serious. She said we needed to talk. I sat down, feeling dread settle in my stomach. Amanda told me Jessica had called her, that Jessica was really hurt. I asked why. Amanda said Jessica felt like I did not want to be part of the family, that I was making excuses not to help. I could not believe what I was hearing. I had been helping for months, sacrificing my time, my work, even our anniversary. Amanda said it was not enough that Jessica needed consistent help, that the kids needed stability. I suggested daycare or a hired babysitter. Amanda said Jessica could not afford that. I said that was not our problem to solve. That is when Amanda dropped it. Jessica had asked if we could watch the kids every Tuesday and Thursday evening. She had gotten a part-time job and needed reliable childcare from 6 to 10 p.m. every single week. I stared at Amanda in disbelief. Those were our only evenings together after work. The only time we had to be a couple. Amanda said it was only a few hours. I pointed out she had already told Jessica yes without even asking me. Amanda stood up, her voice rising, saying, I did not think I needed to, that they were family. I said no. I was done. This stopped now. Amanda looked at me, anger flashing in her eyes. She said I needed to decide right then and there. Was I going to step up and be part of this family, or was I going to keep being selfish? I called her out for calling me selfish after everything I had done. She said if I could not accept her sister and her kids as part of our life, then maybe we were not right for each other. I felt the words hit me like a punch. I asked if she was giving me an ultimatum. She said she was asking me to choose between them and my so-called freedom. I asked if she was seriously asking me to choose between setting boundaries and losing her. Amanda said she was asking me to be the man she thought I was, someone who showed up for family. I sat there in silence. Everything became clear. This would never end. Jessica would keep asking. Amanda would keep enabling. I would keep sacrificing until there was nothing left of me. I realized I had already lost Amanda. She had chosen her sister a long time ago. A strange calm washed over me. I stood up and looked at Amanda. I told her she was right. I needed to choose. She looked hopeful for a split second. Then I said it. I choose myself. I choose my peace. I choose freedom. Amanda looked confused, asking what I meant. I told her I was done. Done being a free babysitter, done being guilt-tripped, done being made to feel like I was the problem. She asked if I was breaking up with her over babysitting. I corrected her. I was not breaking up with her over babysitting. I was breaking up with her because she had shown me who she prioritized, and it was not me. I walked into the bedroom and started packing. Amanda followed, panic rising in her voice, begging me to wait, saying we could talk. I told her we had been talking for months and she had not been listening. She said she would tell Jessica we could not do Tuesdays and Thursdays. I stopped and looked at her. I explained it was not about the schedule. It was about respect, boundaries, partnership. She started crying, saying she loved me. I told her I had loved her too, but love without respect was not enough. I packed my essentials: clothes, my laptop, important documents. I called my buddy Marcus and asked if I could crash at his place. He said, of course, asking what happened. I told him I would explain when I got there. Amanda stood in the doorway blocking my path, begging me not to leave, saying we could fix this. I gently moved past her and told her to take care of herself. I walked out the door, and with every step I felt a weight lifting off my shoulders. The first week at Marcus's place was eye-opening. Marcus was a coworker single with a spare room he offered without hesitation. I slept better than I had in months. There were no sudden knocks at the door, no screaming kids, no guilt trips. I woke up each morning feeling rested, clear-headed. I realized just how much stress I had been carrying. Work improved immediately. I could focus without constant interruptions. I caught up on the project I had fallen behind on. My boss even complimented me at a team meeting, noting my improved performance. I felt my professional confidence returning, something I had not felt in a long time. Amanda started texting. The first day she asked if we could please talk. The second day she said she missed me. The third day she mentioned Jessica felt terrible about what happened. The fourth day she promised they would set better boundaries. I did not respond to any of them. I needed space, and honestly, I did not believe anything would change. Marcus and I grabbed beers one night. He told me I looked different, lighter. I admitted I felt like I could breathe again. He said the relationship had been drowning me, that he had noticed, but did not want to overstep. I told him I kept thinking it would get better, that if I just tried harder or compromised more, things would improve. Marcus shook his head and said, "Sometimes the only way forward is out." 2 weeks after I left, Jessica tried finding other babysitters. The first one charged $30 per hour. Jessica nearly choked when she heard the rate. The second babysitter quit after one session, saying the kids were too difficult to manage. The third one straight up refused to return her calls after the first day. Jessica started realizing that Pascal had never complained about payment, never quit, and always showed up no matter what. Jessica also had to start actually parenting. She could not dump the kids off anymore whenever things got tough. She had to discipline them herself, deal with tantrums, handle bedtime battles. Caden threw a massive fit at the grocery store one afternoon, screaming and throwing items out of the cart. Other shoppers stared. Jessica felt humiliated. Skylar refused to sleep one night, crying for hours. Jessica was exhausted, bleary-eyed, wondering how Pascal had made this look so easy. She started remembering all the times he had quietly cleaned up messes, all the patience he had shown, all the damaged items he had never demanded reimbursement for. The guilt crept in slowly. One evening, Jessica admitted to Amanda that she messed up. She said she had not realized how much Pascal was actually doing. Most people did not last one day with their kids, but Pascal had stuck it out for months without ever asking for anything in return. She said she felt bad now that maybe she had taken advantage of someone who was genuinely trying to help. Amanda was struggling too. The apartment felt empty without Pascal. There was no one to share morning coffee with, no one to cook dinner, alongside no one to talk to about her day. Weekends stretched out long and lonely. She tried dating apps half-heartedly, but every conversation felt hollow. Nothing compared to what she had lost. Amanda also had to babysit alone now. Jessica still asked for help because Amanda could not say no to her sister. The first time Amanda watched both kids by herself, she was completely overwhelmed. Caden would not listen to anything she said. Skylar threw a tantrum over not getting candy. Amanda found herself near tears, realizing Pascal had made it look effortless because he was that patient, that kind. Friends started asking about Pascal. How is he doing? When Amanda had to explain they broke up, everyone was shocked. One friend asked if he cheated. Amanda said no. Another asked if he was abusive. Again, no. They asked what happened then, and Amanda could not articulate it without sounding unreasonable. She tried explaining it was complicated about family obligations, but her words sounded weak even to her own ears. One night, Amanda was scrolling through old photos on her phone. Pictures of hiking trips, cozy dinners at home, lazy Sunday mornings. She saw Pascal's smile in those photos, the way he looked at her, the way they fit together. It hit her all at once. Pascal had been her partner, her support, her home. She had sacrificed something irreplaceable for her sister's convenience. Jessica would have figured things out, eventually found a way to manage, but Amanda had lost someone who truly loved her. Amanda finally reached out with a serious phone call. She asked if Pascal would meet her. 1 month after the breakup, I agreed to meet Amanda at a coffee shop downtown. Not the one where we first met. Somewhere neutral. I arrived first, ordered a black coffee, and sat by the window. I felt calm, centered. No anxiety, no dread, just peace. Amanda walked in looking tired. Dark circles under her eyes, like she had not been sleeping well. She ordered her usual vanilla latte, and I noticed I still remembered. She sat down across from me. There was an awkward silence at first. She thanked me for meeting her. I said, of course. She said I looked good, different. I told her I was doing well. She said she had been thinking a lot about us, about what happened. I waited. Amanda apologized. She said she was wrong about a lot of things. She should have listened to me about boundaries about Jessica. She said she thought family meant never saying no, that love meant constant sacrifice. But she did not see that I was sacrificing constantly, and she had taken it all for granted. She told me Jessica had admitted to taking advantage, that Jessica had been trying to find other help and nobody stuck around. Jessica realized how patient I had been. Amanda said the kids asked about me sometimes. Caden had asked why Uncle Pascal did not visit anymore. I smiled slightly and said I hoped they were doing okay. Then Amanda asked the question. Was there any chance for us? I took a breath. I told her I had loved her, and a part of me always would. She looked hopeful. Then I said no. There was no going back. I explained it was not just about babysitting. It was about feeling invisible in my own relationship. Every time she chose Jessica's needs over mine, she told me where I ranked. I did not blame her for loving her sister, but I could not be with someone who did not know how to put their partner first sometimes. I needed someone who saw me as an equal, not as a support system for her family. Amanda cried softly. She said she understood that she did not like it, but she understood. She said, for what it was worth, she was sorry. She should have been a better partner. I told her I believed her, and I hoped she learned from this. She asked if I was seeing anyone. I said no, that I was focusing on myself, figuring out what I wanted. She said I deserved someone who treated me right. I told her she did too, but she had to treat herself right first. She needed to learn to say no even to Jessica. She nodded. We finished our coffee in comfortable silence. When we walked out, we hugged briefly at the door. She told me to take care. I said the same. We walked in opposite directions. I did not look back. 6 months later, my life had transformed. I got my own apartment. It was smaller than the place I shared with Amanda, but it was entirely mine. I decorated it exactly how I wanted. There was peace and quiet. No unexpected visitors, no guilt trips, just space to breathe. I started going to therapy. My therapist helped me understand I had been people-pleasing at the cost of my own well-being. I told her I thought that was what love meant. She explained love should be reciprocal, not sacrificial. That conversation changed how I saw relationships. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected. Marcus and I started hosting Friday game nights. I went on hiking trips again, something I had not done in months. I picked up my guitar, an old hobby I had abandoned. I had time for myself again. I even met someone new. Her name was Diane, and we worked in the same building. We started talking casually, grabbing lunch sometimes. She respected my time, my boundaries. We had healthy discussions about what we expected from each other. There was no rush, just two people getting to know each other. It felt different, lighter, more balanced. I still thought about Amanda sometimes. I hoped she was doing well, learning to set her own boundaries. I had no regrets about leaving. None. I had learned valuable lessons. I knew I had made the right choice. Looking back now, I realize that Ultimatum was the best thing that ever happened to me. Not because I wanted to lose Amanda, I did not, but because it forced me to choose myself for the first time in a long time. I learned that love without boundaries is just obligation in disguise, that you can care about someone deeply and still walk away if the relationship is drowning you. I learned that saying no does not make you selfish. It makes you honest. And the right person will respect that. Jessica's kids were not the real demons. The real demon was the expectation that I should sacrifice everything without question, that asking for balance made me the villain. Some people will only see your value after you are gone. And that is okay. By then you have already found your own worth. Freedom is not about running away. It is about choosing yourself when nobody else will. And for the first time in years, I could breathe. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were giving everything and getting nothing back? Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and keeping your sanity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your stories. If this resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more real stories about boundaries, relationships, and choosing yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that your peace matters, your boundaries matter, and you are allowed to walk away from anything that does not serve you. Take care of yourself out there.